Good morning and welcome back to the Fawkes Den, FAWKES News. What is the SAVE Act? You guys are going to hear a lot about this in the news all week, so let's just jump ahead of everything. I'm not going to get lost in the weeds. I just want to let you know what the SAVE Act is and kind of just a quick glimpse into why the government may potentially shut down right before, I don't know, one of the bigger elections of our lifetimes. But it all starts with this SAVE Act. I'm going to be live over on the Failure to Stop podcast with Dexter Pitts from the I Am Pitts book, breaking down the Louisville hostage situation takedown that happened a few weeks ago in Louisville. We're going to go over some body camera footage that is over on the Failure to Stop podcast, which has a YouTube channel and has a live chat every Monday night, Wednesday, and Friday. You can catch me today at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over there. But let's jump into this. What is the actual SAVE Act? Now, this is coming from the congress.gov. I will put the link to this in the show notes so that you can go and look at this receipt yourself. You can reference it yourself. That's what FAWKES News is all about, bringing you the receipts. Less emotion, more facts. Here we go. Let's read the SAVE Act. So if you're driving around in your vehicle and you're on your way to work or however you consume this, maybe you're sitting in your cubicle and you don't want to have the time to read it yourself, I'm going to read it for you. This bill requires individuals to provide documentary proof of U.S. citizenship in order to register to vote in federal elections. Me personally, I think this is common sense. And obviously, even since the 90s, we've all thought it was common sense because that's when this act was kind of adopted and born in a bill. We're going to cover that in just a minute. But this has been a battle since the 90s. And we've all kind of agreed back in the 90s that only U.S. citizens can vote in our federal elections. Now, the bill goes on to say specifically, the bill prohibits states from accepting and processing an application to register to vote in a federal election unless the applicant presents documentary proof of a U.S. citizenship. So you have to have a birth certificate, a driver's license, passport, some kind of proof that you are an American citizen. Further, the bill, one, prohibits states from registering an individual to vote in a federal election unless at the time the individual applies to register to vote, the individual provides documentary proof of U.S. citizenship, and two, requires the states to establish an alternative process under which an applicant may submit other evidence to demonstrate U.S. citizenship. Each state must take affirmative steps on an ongoing basis to ensure that only U.S. citizens are registered to vote, which shall include establishing a program to identify individuals who are not U.S. citizens using information supplied by specified sources. Again, this is very common sense. Additionally, the bill requires states to remove non-citizens from their official list of eligible voters. The bill allows for a private right of action against an election official who registers an applicant to vote in federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. The bill also establishes criminal penalties for certain offenses, including registering an applicant to vote in a federal election who fails to present documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. And finally, the Election Assistance Commission must, within 10 days, adopt and transmit guidance for implementing the bill's requirement to chief state election officials. The fact that this bill got shut down is beyond me. But here, I just want to go one step further. This is the SAVE Act one-pager. And I will also put the link to this down in the show notes. The problem since taking office, the Joe Biden administration has released at least 4.6 million illegal aliens into the country, with 1.8 million known gotaways. And many states, these illegal aliens are eligible for driver's license and other benefits, providing ample opportunities to illegally register to vote in federal elections. In some jurisdictions, non-citizens are even able to vote in local elections. While only U.S. citizens can legally vote in federal elections, federal law has generally preempted and undermined state laws requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. So in a nutshell, what this is kind of saying on the one pager is that, yes, that is the law. It has been the law since the 90s. However, there's no implication of the law because there is nothing that says you have to provide a valid ID or valid proof of voting. You can just put your name on the ballot. You can just walk in. And we saw this with the last election. I think this is too late. This is something we should have taken care of months and months ago, but it's just now coming to the table. And you know, we're going to talk about why Chuck Schumer left this on his desk for long. I think we all know the answer to that. I think the answer might lie somewhere with this 4.6 million illegal aliens that are currently in the country illegally. And I think it's safe to say that might be a part of the Democrats' bigger plan the bigger plan here of why we just have open borders and this flood of 4.6 million illegal immigrants with no way of really of monitoring them in these elections, because we don't have any voter ID laws or anything like this. So this would be kind of a common sense bill that requires folks to have documentation to vote. Like, not going to get in the weeds. This is just a quick take. We're going to be covering a lot of this, guys, because this is going to be huge news all week and maybe in the next 50 days leading up to this election. We'll talk next about what happens in the government shutdown before the elections or during the elections, how this is all going to play out. Stay right here at FAWKES, where I will bring you all of the news with less emotions and more facts. G.I. Joe said it the best. If you didn't know what the SAVE Act was, well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle.